whispered Tabitha. Like Francis, snickered Jericho, loud enough for everyone to hear. It's so good to see you again. So I want to share a new book with you that I just discovered recently. It's called Francis Discovers Possible. I want to talk to you about something before we read it together. Do you ever feel like maybe you're different than other people? We're all very different, and those differences that we all have should be celebrated. We should all be proud of who we are, what we look like. We should all be excited about what shape or size we are, what color our skin is. Those are all differences that are wonderful to be celebrated. I have a book here about a little girl named Frances. In this story, Francis Discovers Possible, by Ashlee Latimer, and the pictures are by Shahrzad Madani. And it's about a little girl learning that it's okay to be different than other people. Sometimes people use those differences when they don't understand differences, and it makes them get a little confused, and sometimes they might say something to us that's hurtful. Have any of you ever had that happen before? I know when I was a little girl, I did. I looked a little bit different. My size was a little bit different. And someone didn't understand me and didn't understand all the wonderful parts about me and my personality and what a wonderful friend I was. And they said something that hurt my feelings. We're going to see that same kind of thing in this story of Francis Discovers Possible. We're going to see how she works through that when someone hurts her feelings. It's okay to feel hurt when someone says something to us that confuses us or we don't understand. But you're going to see in this story that Frances has a wonderful person to talk to think through her feelings, to be able to work through that and to understand that it's okay to be different. So let's visit Frances. Let's meet her and see what happens in her story. She looks very fun. On the cover, I already see some wonderful colors. And Frances is swinging. She's pumping her legs and her face looks very joyful. Oh, and look, there's lots of beautiful colors on the cover. And even on the back of the book, we see lots of pretty colors. Dragons flying through the air. There's some antelopes jumping and butterflies and rainbows and goldfish. Maybe they're koi fish, I'm not sure. We can use our imaginations. It almost looks like an imaginative world, like maybe she's imagining there's a mushroom and a snail. Lots of little hidden pretty things to look at in this story. All right, let's meet Frances and see what happens in her story. Here on the title page, she's lying down on a bench and looks like she's thinking. She's thinking about things. You like to lie and think about things? Looks like maybe she's outside. Looks like some trees up above her and she's thinking about the world around her. Here we go. At Frances's school, Tuesdays were word days, and that made Tuesdays the best. Every week, Frances's teacher, Mr. Pruitt, picked one student and let them choose a letter. Their job was to find new words that began with their letter to share with the class. That sounds fun. This week, it was Frances's turn, and she had picked the letter P. But first, Mr. Pruitt wanted to review the letters they'd already learned. If you look, all the children in her class are sitting together. They all look a little bit different, wearing different clothes. They're different shapes and sizes and colors. And look, they've got lots of imagination going on, I think, too, because this is supposed to be in their classroom. But there's all kind of swirly colors and fun things, almost like they're in a forest. Makes me feel like they're feeling happy while they're sitting there learning with Mr. Pruitt. A is for antelope, Mr. Pruitt started. R is for rainbow, Robert said. T is for trampoline, cried Calliope. I love these names. E is for, prompted Mr. Pruitt. Elephant, shouted Zamora. Elevator, suggested Achille. Excellent, Mr. Pruitt winked. What about F? Frog, yelled Samira. Fat, whispered Tabitha. Like Francis, snickered Jericho, loud enough for everyone to hear. Let's look at their faces and see. Here's Francis. And then we had Tabitha and Jericho. I wonder if they were trying to be nice when they said the word fat. Does it look like Francis took that as a nice way to say that? Have you ever heard that word before, that word fat? That's the way we describe, it's a descriptive word for people and one of their sizes. Let's think. Let's see what happens. Fat was usually a warm word like belly rubs for Francis's puppy. Right there. Or how her giggles felt too big for her mouth during hide and seek. Have you ever done that? Your hide and seek and you're giggling? Or like cuddling up to read a book with Mama and using Mama's fluffy arm as the best pillow. I love that. Tabitha made fat cold. Like the time a hole split Francis's boots and let the puddles inside. Jericho made Francis feel small, like the time she tripped at recess during tag and everyone laughed. Friends. I'm not thinking Tabitha took that as a warm feeling when they whispered, fat like Francis. I think it hurt her feelings. I had that happen to me once too when I was a little girl. I remember that. I felt much like Francis does right here. It didn't make me feel good because it didn't feel like they were saying it like that warm Francis, like little Francis's puppy and warm belly rubs and giggling and mama's fluffy arms. I loved my mama's fluffy arms when I was a little girl. Mr. Pruitt told Jericho and Tabitha to apologize and offered to jump to Francis's turn to talk. But Francis didn't want to stand in front of everybody now. She started thinking about fat, and she couldn't seem to stop. See, she looks very sad now. And her friends, one looks kind of confused, and the other one doesn't really understand. She thought about fat at lunch. Her friends are eating. Is she eating? She's not eating now. Not much has gone off of her plate. She thought about fat at nap time. She's not sleeping either. It really bothered her when her friends said that she was fat the way that they did. She thought about fat when Baba picked her up after school. See, she's really thinking about all of this. How was class today? Did you tell everyone about pumpernickel and pudding and porcupines? Baba asked as he gave Francis a hug. Francis shook her head against Baba's soft belly. No, why not? Francis wasn't sure what to say. She didn't want Baba to know fat was bad. In her house, they had used it in a good way, like talking about little puppies' bellies and mommy's arms and such like that. She didn't know people could use it in a sad or hurtful way, the way they did with her today. Francis and Baba were both quiet on their walk to the car. Francis, Baba said after they buckled up, I need some fresh air. Could we go to the park? Francis considered. The park was good for thinking. Okay, Baba, Francis said. When Francis and Baba got to the park, he made a beeline for the swings, their favorite spot. But Francis didn't want to pump her legs today. She sat on the closest bench instead. just sitting there. You see her body. Does her body look like she's feeling happy? Nope. She's really thinking hard. She looks a little sad still. She's really thinking through this. Still all the beautiful colors around her though. It's kind of like her thoughts are all mixed up in those beautiful colors. No swings? Frances shook her head and curled her knees to her chest until she was as small as she could be. You know what? Me either. I was just thinking, today is definitely a bench day. That was really nice of her daddy, her Baba. She calls her daddy her Baba. I called my daddy Daddy, or sometimes Dad. Some kids call him Father or Papa. Baba and Frances settled in. It was quiet on the bench. Then Baba said, "You know, Frances, the Weather Channel thinks it's possible we'll get snow before..." Frances's ears perked up. Possible. Frances knew so many P words, but this one felt brand new. "Baba," Frances said. "What does the word possible mean?" Baba tilted his head to the side. What do you think?" Frances shrugged. "Maybe possible is something like exploring," Baba suggested. Then he held out his hand and whispered, "Why don't we go find out?" He held out his hand to her. Frances wasn't sure, but she was curious, so she put her hand in Baba's and off they went. I want you to look for a second at these pictures here. Do you see how Baba's got his arm around her? I think Baba can tell that she's feeling a little bit sad. He doesn't really know why, but he gets that she needs some time to think, and he's there to support her, and his arm around her shows that he's supporting her and that he loves her. That's a way we can support our friends when we can tell that they're not feeling so well or they need some extra care. Was possible like airplanes hovering in the sky? I want you to look at all the fun things going on in these pictures. There goes that dragon through the air. Some children are flying kites. They're playing out in the breeze, and the wind is blowing, and their imaginations are going, and they're thinking. Look, her hair is flying in the wind as she flies her kite. These little girls are running, having so much fun. It's good to be outside. It helps us think and clear our minds when something is bothering us. Going outside and smelling the fresh air and just getting quiet for a while sometimes helps us think through the things that might be troubling us. Could possible be like learning to swim? Was it when you held your breath and jumped? Oh, I love these two pages. They bled over onto each other, and everybody is swimming. All shapes and sizes and colors of people are swimming. Ages of people are all swimming and having a wonderful time. All their faces look so happy. They're imagining things like this. This person is imagining that she's a beautiful mermaid with her hair all flowy and fins on her feet. Oh, I love to dive in the water. That's so much fun. This one is reading a book, and she wears glasses like me. Or did possible look like planting and how it takes a long time to grow? Maybe possible slap, slap, slapped the double dutch and kept you on your toes. Here is a friend that's planting things in her imagination. Here she's thinking about kids playing double dutch. It's a jump rope game. Have you ever played double dutch? So many different games people play all over the world. Looks so much fun. Frances thought that possible would be one thing, but suddenly it seemed like lots of things. There was possible in dandelions and in scooping air into your lungs for a wish. Let me say that line again. That is beautiful writing. There were possible in dandelions and in scooping air into your lungs for for a wish. I love how the author wrote that line. That just makes me imagine taking a very deep breath and breathing and thinking. Possible in puppies. Here's a puppy. In the squishes of their tummies and how they're always ready to play. Possible like the wind dancing leaves to a new place. The wind dancing leaves to a new place. You ever seen leaves being blown by the wind from one spot to the other from the trees as they fall? Here's some good imagination going on this page. Look at that one. All the colors. It looks like a lion's face and maybe a snake and so those koi fish again, some beautiful butterflies. Maybe there's a mermaid in there, a rainbow. Kind of think I see a mermaid hiding in there. Possible made Frances feel warm and big like fat. Before Tabitha made it cold and Jericho made it small. Possible made her want to take up space and share her words. And wish and dance and play. Because if puppies and wishes could be possible, maybe Frances was possible too. She is, friends, just like you are. No matter, all our shapes and sizes are wonderful and beautiful, just the way we were made. Frances reached up and tugged on Baba's sleeve. Baba, I think I'm ready for the swings, said Frances, and she was. Look how happy Frances looks now. She and Baba swinging together, doing the things she loves to do, just like all the other little kids, swinging and being happy with her family. This one's taking a picture. The end. So, thank you for joining me for my story today. I hope that you'll think about Frances's story. And I want you to think about all the different shapes and sizes we're so blessed in our world to have, and all the people around you, and all your classmates in class, and in your families. Everybody's family and classes are built with lots of wonderful different shapes and sizes and colors, and we can all enjoy them and enjoy the differences in each other and learn from each other about our differences. So I hope that you'll use those things and think about how those words can be used to hurt someone, like the two little children did to Frances, or words can be used to make someone feel good and positive about themselves. So think about how you'll use your words. Are you going to use them to build people up and celebrate their differences with them? Or are you going to use your words to bring them down? I think I want to use my words to build people up. So be thinking about that as you go off to read today. I hope you enjoy your books just like I enjoyed this one. Frances Discovers Possible. I'll see you again soon.